Hey, this is Trevor Houston with the Who You Know Job Networking Show. And if you really want to learn how to level up your life, you need to be listening to the Time to Shine Today podcast with my friend, Scott Ferguson.
Time to Shine Today Varsity Squad. It is Scott Ferguson, and I got my leveling up partner, Trevor Houston, actually out of the state of Texas. He's a co-host on a show that I was on that just blew my mind, how the camaraderie of the people there, how they really care about helping people level up their employment. The name of the show is the Who You Know Show. And make sure you check them out on YouTube. It's down in the show notes after, of course, you listen to the show here. But Trevor is a young buck, but he's done so much in the little amount of time he's been on this earth. He's a God-fearing man. We have so much in common. He just reminds me of me when I look back into my late 20s, early 30s. So without further ado, here's my really good friend, Trevor Houston from the Who You Know Show. Hey, time to shine today, Varsity Squad. It is Scott Ferguson, and today's employment search is more complex than ever. It's not always what you know, but more importantly, who you know can make all the difference in your search for employment. That's why I brought in my young buck, fantastic, and friend as well, Trevor Houston. Trevor helps job seekers get noticed, create opportunities, and take control of the financial impact of job loss. As a LinkedIn networking expert, which that's a huge credential, he's an expert with LinkedIn, Trevor helps build a community of leaders by empowering job seekers to find their passion. His social media training, job search networking strategies, and outside-the-box approach, driven approach, produces results. He's also the co-host of the Who You Know networking show, and you got to watch that. It's a lot of fun. They have a lot of fun conversations. So, Trevor, if you can, please come on. I'm going to have you introduce yourself to the Time to Shine Today squad. But first, what is the emoji you use the most while you're texting?
Wow. Okay. Hey, my name's Trevor Houston. Super excited to be with you guys today. The emoji I use the most, that's a great question. You know, the fear emoji, the one that's like a ghost face. I think I use that one the most.
I love it. I love it.
It gets attention.
It does. It does. What's your favorite color, brother?
My favorite color, blue.
Why is that?
You know, it's the color of, you know, calming, peaceful, and trust. Gotcha. Right? It's just a very, very calming color that it says trust.
You're pretty chill, man. You know, you're pretty chill. My guy here, Trevor, you know, he's over in the Texas state, baby. I love it.
Go Cowboys.
I love Texas. Actually, it's funny because me and my lady are looking at different bed and breakfasts for sale to go over and buy one in the next 5 to 6 years to actually go live in Texas and run a B&B. That's been my whole dream, whole life. I put myself in a position to do that, and we're looking at possibly doing that. So I might be over there a little bit more than usual.
Man, you need to come out to my city. Come to McKinney. They got downtown square McKinney, voted one of the top places to live in the country, and they've got these old historic homes. You could turn one into a bed and breakfast. Perfect.
I love it. I love it. So, Trevor, let's get to, because you're relatively young man. May I ask your age?
33.
33. So you're young buck, and you look even younger. I thought you were going to say like 26, 27. So that's a great thing. You got a lot going for you there. So you're 33 years old. Give us the origins, man. Where'd you start? How did you give us the origins? Let's just start there with you, brother.
Yeah. So, born and raised in McKinney, Texas, and started my professional career in sales with Harley Davidson. And so that was a lot of fun. I spent a couple years there, and then 0809 happened, right? The market crashed, and people stopped spending, money on luxury items, and people were losing their jobs and stuff like that. And so I actually ended up losing my job as well. I got let go from Harley Davidson and moved into the auto industry. And I spent 6 years in the auto industry and was just crushing it there. I was one of their top producers, and one of the guys that I followed that really kind of helped coach and mentored me was Grant Cardone. that guy's just an amazing. He kind of started off in the auto industry.
Sure did.
And so yeah, I was a top producer there for 6 years, but kind of noticed that corporate politics kind of held me down, and I was outgrowing my environment. And so I decided to take a leap of faith, which was pretty interesting because, whenever you're at the top of your game, to leave, that takes a lot of faith to go try anything new. And so, but again, the politics was kind of holding me back. So I decided to take a leap and got into financial services.
Okay.
And I've been doing that for now. I'm in my 6th year of financial services, and have grown a really, really successful practice there. And so, yeah, that's a little bit about my background.
So you're 27, or maybe even 26 when you started the financial services career.
Yep, that's about right.
How did you get people to take you seriously? Because listen, the reason why I asked that is I started my real estate career at 25 in 1997 as a realtor. And a lot of people, I'm handling arguably their biggest investment they've made to date and maybe they'll ever make with their house. People would always ask me, man, like, how long you been doing this? And a mentor told me, I would always say, feels like a lifetime. You know what I'm saying? So, how did you handle that objection when you got into the financial services?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm going to tell you what, my first year was a struggle. It was a little bit of a challenge, which I think anybody's first year or few years in creating their own business is a challenge. But
especially if you're hunting, you have to hunt.
What I'm saying? Yeah, totally. Because I'm glad you brought that up. That was night and day for me from the auto industry to financial services, because in the auto industry, we had advertisement, we had leads, we had things coming in the door, and all I had to do was really close it, right?
Sure.
So in financial services, nothing was coming to me. I had to go, like you said, I got to go hunt it, right?
Yeah.
I've got to go be the marketing department and bring people in. And so, it was a challenge. People did look at me because of my age and kind of like, well, what's this young buck going to teach me about money and finance and things like that? One of the things that I could say that helped me in that perception was creating a team, right? I have a whole team of advisors that work with me in my practice, and I partnered up with this my business partner, Mark Elder, and he's a little bit older. He's in his 40s.
Okay, careful.
And so they had a little bit more respect for him.
Right.
So what I did was I was like, okay, it was more of a line, what we call in the car business line and close, which would be like, I'm the marketing department. I'm the one that's going to be getting people in the door. And, then I would get him in front of Mark. Now, I was still the closer, though. I would always be able to kind of close the deals. But they were, I guess they had a little bit more respect for him in his, the perception of his knowledge base.
Sure.
Because he was a little older.
Right. So then to get to where you're at, you have to live networking, live, eat, and breathe networking. I mean, we can agree with that, correct?
100%.
So what do you think makes a great networker?
Adding value that has absolutely nothing to do with your business, okay? That was another big piece of my success was when I started helping, my audience of job seekers, and that's primarily who I serve in the community is job seekers. And, I started helping them. And originally I got introduced to this group called Frisco Connect. And in this group, there's hundreds of job seekers in there. And, we couldn't just go in there and be like, hey, if anybody needs to roll over their old 401k, come holler at us, right? I mean, think about that, right? That's not going to go over too well.
Right.
The perception of that is just like a shark circling the waters, right? And so we were like, okay, we have to overcome this perception. So let's go in here and let's add value. Let's give back. Let's actually figure out how to help these people.
Sure.
Their challenges, their struggles. We'd sit down with them, and we did this. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how many interviews we'd sit down and just talk with them and figure out what their challenges were. And what we found out was it's the networking. So every time someone would land a job, they would they would tell their story. They'd bring donuts and they'd raise their hand and they'd get up and tell their story about how it happened and how they landed. And 9 times out of 10, it was networking. And I was like, wow, okay. So it's not what you know, it's who you know, right?
Absolutely.
And so I'm like, okay, but a lot of these people were really, really, really struggling with networking.
Right.
Like bad. They were struggling with it because that wasn't their field of expertise. They didn't have to network in their IT career or their, they were behind a cubicle somewhere.
Right. Absolutely.
And now they're in the job search and everybody's telling them, well, you need to network, but no one told them how or what to do or best practices or strategies.
Exactly. Right.
They just hear you need to network.
Right. Right.
And then they're like, and much of them are like introverts,
Right.
Like
Yeah, exactly. That. So if I'm out at a networking event and I'm pressing flesh, of course, with a mask on here in Palm Beach County, so don't get me in trouble. It's a $250 fine now on that. Anyways, if I'm out at a networking event and I'm pressing flesh, meeting people, and I'm using the old adage, 1 mouth and 2 ears for a reason. I'm shutting up and I'm listening. So if I'm talking to somebody, what could they be saying that would make them a great prospect, referral, introduction to Trevor Houston?
Oh, so if you're out and you're networking with somebody, for me, it's just about like, if they're seeking employment, right? If they're looking for employment, or if they can help people who are seeking employment, right? If they're a recruiter, a hiring manager, a career coach, or somebody like yourself who's like an entrepreneur that is thinking about how do I elevate people's mindset? Okay, that's a huge part of what I do is like, I want to elevate these people because they just hit rock bottom, man. Sure. A lot of these people are broken. They went from the top, they climbed that corporate ladder, and every rung that they went up the ladder, they got more expensive.
Sure.
And then these companies, they're having these corporate layoffs and they're cutting off the top because of profit and loss and, all that. So anyway, it's all about money.
Right.
But anyway, so they hit the bottom and they're depressed. They got anxiety, fear. And so a big mission of mine is to help to lift these people up. And so if you're someone out there that's like, helping people with mindset, that overcoming, that nothing can stop me, I can do this, I got this type of attitude, I need you. I need you on the show. I need you to be able to talk to my audience to help lift them up and encourage them.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And also, if there's people out there that are thinking about maybe changing and starting up their own business, right? I'm a huge advocate for that because, I left that auto industry and went and created my own business. And, I think that people get stuck in corporate America. And I got to tell you, corporate America is broken. Sure. I mean, it really is. It's broken.
It is. Absolutely.
So I think create your own destiny. And a lot of people are afraid to do that. So if you can help people to get over that fear and to create their own destiny, now it's not meant for everybody, but
sure. So,
man, I'll tell you what, there's nothing like it.
Beautiful. So if you're bringing in a new client, or maybe you're just in a discovery period to bring them in, what is your secret sauce, if you don't mind sharing, to help them find their blind spot?
So are we talking about as far as
someone that wants to level up?
They want to level up. They want to level up in their career. They want to find new opportunities.
Either
or financial, or
because if you're leveling up your career, what I found is the same as going out. A lot of people that are friends of mine and colleagues that are high up on the ladder, because I'm pushing 50 years old. A lot of my people are up there, so they're almost the good ones treat themselves like they're their own commodity in a sense within their corporate structure, meaning this is Scott Ferguson Inc. and I'm working my way up. So if you're bringing, whether it's somebody that's working their way up the ladder or somebody that's coming in and wants to level up and start their new enterprise, if you will, what is your secret sauce when you start working with them?
I think for me, I like technology. Okay. I like things that save time. Time management is probably one of the most important skills someone can learn just in life. But if you're doing your own business, even in your job search, doesn't matter. Like time management for me. And so by, you leveraging technology to save you time, to be in multiple places at once. Everybody wishes that we could be in multiple places at once. Well, technology, you can actually, through the power of video, through the power of technology like we're on right now, like this Zoom. There's stuff out there, and it's funny because now that with COVID, everybody's kind of waking up to this. I've been preaching this stuff forever.
Same here, brother. Yeah.
And it's all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, well, now everybody's on Zoom and using technology and video, but I'd say visibility is key. People need to know you exist. If no one knows you exist, well, then you don't exist.
Right.
I mean, you're not really relevant.
Sure.
So if nobody knows you, then, come on. And we live in a world where it's actually fairly easy to be noticed, to get your word out, to get your name out there, to get to build credibility and value because of social media, because of cell phones and things like that. It's too easy now.
It is. And then once people get over that fear and they realize how easy it is to actually work, it's like I have clients, I'm like, let's just do a Zoom and look at different properties. My day job being a real estate agent, and they're like, oh man, I don't know. Once they're doing it, they're like, oh, let's do another Zoom. They're like, boom, boom, boom. It's just getting them past that hurdle that, oh, this actually can work, right? I mean, some people are just stuck in that archaic age. So if we were to get into our DeLorean with Marty McFly and Back to the Future, and you were to go back to, because you're still a relatively young man, but if you were to go back to the 18-year-old Trevor, with the knowledge, you've developed so much knowledge in these, 15 years. What kind of knowledge nuggets are you dropping on that Trevor, the 18-year-old Trevor, that help him level up, maybe shorten his learning curve a little bit?
Man, think bigger. Think bigger. I mean, I was thinking small. I wanted to be I wanted to own that dealership or be the general manager of that dealership. How small is that? I don't know, man. I look at that now like that's small.
Right.
But I would have told 18-year-old Trevor to think bigger, dream bigger, because visualization I think is important too.
Mm-hmm.
If you can dream it, if you can see it, if you can write it down, if you can have a picture. That's why vision boards are important. A lot of people create vision boards, but when you see something, right, what happens is you will start to take the necessary steps to get there. Right?
Absolutely.
And so
you subconsciously do it too. You don't consciously do it. Next thing you know, you're doing something. You're like, wait a minute, because like you said, you're visualizing it. Your subconscious
100%.
Doesn't discriminate. It just takes what it's given. That's why my mentor used to say, lie to yourself all the time. Just be like, I'm a millionaire. Tell yourself, listen, man, I close, $2 million a month, and then all of a sudden the subconscious mind says, well, if he says it's true, the gatekeeper, then I've got to start doing the things to make it happen. Next thing you know, the 2 million comes in. You're like, in volume, you're like, oh, wow. So what you just said is visualization, think bigger. That's fantastic. I would tell my 22-year-old self that exact same thing. And luckily I was handed the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, back when I was 25. And that really shaped the different ways. And I also have a vision board right here. If I had a camera, I could kind of show it to you. I've had one since 1999, man. But
so I had a Chevelle on my desktop.
What year?
68 Chevelle.
68, okay.
Yeah, I had it on and that's the car I was going to have, man. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. My priorities changed and I bought a house. And,
still, your house is nice though. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I got a nice crib.
Love it. So what is the BIG then, the big thing Trevor wants to accomplish in his life?
And I tell you what, right now I'm in the process of creating an online course. I'm writing a book. I'm developing an app. All designed to help business owners, entrepreneurs, job seekers. I'm going to tell you the training model. I see myself being like a Grant Cardone or a Tony Robbins, where people are taking my training and I have live conferences where I'm lifting people up, inspiring them, just have broken people walking in the door and like people, on a rocket ship leaving on the outside of it. And, Yeah, man, that's what really gets me going. And beyond that, I'm not really sure. Who knows? But
right.
You're
going to figure out a lot of things between now and then. That's awesome that you're thinking that big, Trevor. Fantastic. So when you start bringing people into your, say, how did I ask this? Into your company to help level them up, is there any good question that you wish they would ask you but never do?
That's a really good question. A question that they would ask me but never do. Man, I'm not sure I have a really good answer for that one.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think.
No, wait,
yeah, that's a good question.
I want people that I coach. I coach one-on-one, and I have a group coaching. And when I bring people in, one, I have them fill out a questionnaire that takes them about 15 minutes to fill out, so I know they're serious. They get it done. And then when I'll ask them, and at the end, if they don't ask me a question that stimulates me, I ask them if they want to know about any of my fails. I want to know if you were my coach, Trevor, I'd be like, tell me about a fail, man. Tell me about that Harley Davidson. Why'd you fail? Why did you get cut? Harley Davidson didn't close, bro. Why did you leave? See, I would ask something like that, and that's what I want people to ask of me. And a lot of people are just afraid to pull that trigger. You know what I'm saying?
That's a great question.
So
great question.
But again, I mean, you're on a rocket ship, man.
That's like a question that people would ask in a job interview, right?
Right.
I mean, your interviewer is going to ask you, hey, tell me about a time when you failed and what did you do about it, or how did you overcome that, or
right.
That's a great question. Yeah.
If someone's paying me $1,500 a month to level up their mindset, I want them to. If not, I'm going to be like, listen, I'm going to tell you about a fail. And this is how I handled it. And I failed forward and I moved forward. So, I use a lot of, sports analogies. So it's like, if you're running with a ball, football, American football for all my people over in the UK, if I'm running with football, if I get tackled, I fall forward, I fail forward. I'm always, pushing forward. So Trevor, lead into that. How do you want, we talk about the dash here at Time to Shine today a lot. And how do you want your dash remembered, that little line in between your life date and your expiration date? So how do you want that remembered? Maybe a legacy statement or epitaph. How do you want that remembered? Hopefully it's a long time down the road, God willing, right? But, how do you want it to be remembered?
Yeah, I hope that people remember me just by, adding value into their life, that I helped transform people. All right, that's my mission, is to help transform people to who they're called to be. Right, we're all given gifts and talents, and people just play small. They don't live up to them. Right. And I hope that by the time I'm not here anymore, that people can say, man, that guy helped me be who I was supposed to be the whole time.
Love it.
That was the guy that helped transform me to who I was called to be. And because I've had a lot of people in my life that have spoken into my life, that have helped coach and mentor and lift me up to be who I am right now. So,
love it. So Trevor, what's 3 things you can't live without?
3 things.
It can be person, place, or thing. 3 nouns.
Yeah. Number 1, God.
Love it.
My faith, right? Can't live without God. Oh, I like face to face. I can't, right now this COVID thing's kind of been a little bit of a challenge for me.
You like community?
I like community, man, and it has been able to help me grow. Actually, we've been growing through this process, but
absolutely,
I still miss the face to face.
Love it.
I can't go without that too long, man. I can't wait for all this to blow over, so I can go and hug on people, man. I love hugging on people.
Love it.
And family, right? Family. That's another thing that's super important too.
Love it. Casey Haston asked me, 3 things you take to Mars. If you're first colony, I was like, I'll have, my lady Susan, my dog Stitch, and chicken wings. I'm a chicken wing snob, man. So if I come to Texas, you got to get me in touch with some good chicken wings there, man.
All right, I can do that.
So Trevor, what's your definition of a life well lived?
A life well lived. Well, I think that it's about the pursuit of happiness, right? You have to really be aware of what makes you happy. And it's not the same for everybody. Not everybody's just driven. Not everybody wants to shoot for the moon. And I don't understand that because that's not my mindset. Right. I don't get it. But I also know there's people out there that just want to be content. They just want to be happy.
And we need those people too in this world.
We do.
We do.
We totally do.
Yeah.
Love those people. I just feel I think that people, again, they need to dream bigger, but because there's a lot of people playing small that know they can do more. They know they can do more, but
you're a man of faith, like myself, and I always I kind of start off with my clients and stuff. Is that the word, if you're not maxing out what you can and leveling up your life, it's a sin to me, because even in the Greek word, the word sin, the origin of that word is missing the mark. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean, you're a dirtbag or whatever. It just means you're missing the mark. And I just feel that if I'm not every day leveling up, serving people, that I am missing the mark. And,
I love that.
that's how I push the premise of Time to Shine today out of to my clients, to my listeners, because they know I don't want to miss the mark. And, you are leveling up and pursuing happipiness every day. And I see that with what, your professionalism, how your squad that you have there at the, the Who You Know job networking show. So listen, we're going to move into our leveling up lightning round as we wind this interview down. You and I could talk 15, 20 minutes about everything here. Okay. I need the first answer comes to your head. They're easy. Okay. First answer comes to your head with no explanation. You ready, Trev?
Okay, cool.
Here we go. What's the best leveling up advice you've ever received?
Okay, you kind of cut out there a little bit. Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Say it again.
What's the best leveling up advice you've ever received?
Man, this is lightning round, and I'm bombing it.
You're fine.
The best leveling up advice I've ever received. Brian Craig told me, hey, man, you can always go back to the auto industry.
You can always go back. Love it. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
Get up early.
Love it. Love it. Other than your own website and, of course, Time to Shine today, my shameless plug, what's another website you'd like to go to level up?
Another website I like to go to. LinkedIn.
Love it. That's a great website, brother. I kind of met you. I met Casey through LinkedIn and introduced me to you. Fantastic. What's your favorite Cardone book?
Favorite Cardone book? I got to be honest. I haven't read any of the books, man. Okay. I'm not a big reader.
Gotcha.
I'm not a big reader.
Yeah, you got to read Be Obsessed or Be Average, because what we've talked about today, that's one book that I've read and actually listened to, and I'll actually fall asleep to that book until it's done. I'll read once a year, where I just put it on, play it for 15 minutes on my Audible, and I go to sleep. It's an amazing book. So what's your favorite?
To do that.
Yeah, do it, brother. What's your favorite charity and or organization you like to support with your time and or money?
Frisco Connect, Stonebriar Community Church. Yeah, so that's the church that I volunteer at for the job networking group over there. Yep.
So last question. It's a tough one, brother. Ready? What is the best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
90s.
All right. Very cool. Very cool. All right. So how can we find you, Trevor?
Man, come check me out on LinkedIn. That's probably the easiest way. That's where I'm most active for sure, is LinkedIn. I've got all the other channels as well, but if you want to check out my old material and stuff like that, pre-recorded shows and content, you can go to our YouTube page, Who You Know Show. But if you go to our LinkedIn, you're going to get the live. That's where it's really happening.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. And all of his links, everything that you can get in touch with Trevor is in the show notes. And reach out to me if you want a personal introduction to Trevor. I'll make sure that happens. I'd love to introduce Trevor to everybody. He's always adding value that has nothing to do with your business. So, if you need a plumber, I'm sure Trevor's going to be able to find the right plumber for you. That's how much he cares about you. He's 100% go-giver. He's always helping people to seek and level up their employment. So if you're a headhunter or you're somebody that's a job recruiter, reach out to Trevor because he's going to put you in touch with the right people, or he might be able to help you himself. He's always thinking big. He visualizes. He's got his vision board. Things come to fruition because of what the vision board is. He taps into his subconscious mind, and all of a sudden he creates things, and not only for himself, but for other people. He's going to leave a legacy. He's 33 years old, people, and he's already leaving a legacy. He's living his legacy every day by adding value to people's lives. And he wants you to pursue happiness and be aware of your pursuit. And Trevor, brother, you are humble, yet you're hungry, you're driven, you're leveling up your health, you're leveling up your wealth. Now you're part of our Time to Shine Today varsity squad. You just earned your letter jacket, brother. Thanks for coming on.
Man, nice. Love it, man. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man. We'll talk soon.
All right.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Time to Shine Today podcast. Proudly brought to you by Sutter & Nugent Real Estate Excellence, who can be reached at 561-249-7266 and online at www.sutterandnugent.com. If you are a business owner or professional who would like to be interviewed on Time to Shine Today, please visit timetoshinetoday.com/guest. If you like this episode, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to our website. Also there, you will see our recommended resources. We hope that you will support our show by supporting them. If you like what you've been listening to, it'd be great if you could just give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe while you're at it. I'm your host, Scott Ferguson, and until next time, let's level up. It's our time to shine.